Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are discussing the cons of working after having children, and if this topic is helpful for you, make sure to subscribe and like the video so you don't miss future content. Because one thing new mothers learn that they often wish they understood before childbirth is that it can take up to, and usually longer than 6 months to get a newborn baby sleep trained, which means it will probably be 6 months to a year before you get a good night's sleep on a consistent basis, and the problem arises when your job or employer expects you to come back to work after only 6 weeks, which is a far cry from the 6 month marker. Meaning that somehow you will have to get up early for work after barely sleeping because you were up and down all night with your baby, since most babies have to be fed about every 3 hours, which equals around 8 feedings in a 24-hour period. Plus diaper changes every 3 to 4 hours and anytime they cry for other reasons. And during that first year after giving birth, your new life mainly revolves around feeding the baby, changing them, bathing them, rocking them, and trying to get sleep whenever you can. And while it helps if you have the child's dad or another family member to assist you, you should still expect low and inconsistent sleep for around a year, all while healing from childbirth itself, which can vary depending on whether you had a routine vaginal delivery or a C-section, and C-sections take longer to heal from, especially emergency C-sections, which tend to be rougher because doctors are trying to save the baby's life. While planned C-sections are generally smoother and easier to recover from, and it's important for women to know that multiple C-sections increase risks, which is why many doctors feel it is too dangerous to attempt a vaginal birth after having a C-section due to the risk of internal bleeding from the previous incision, and then there is daycare, which can be terrifying because leaving your newborn with strangers is emotionally difficult. You cannot fully trust that strangers will do everything correctly, and there is always the risk of negligence or abuse, or even other children accidentally hurting your child when caregivers are distracted. And you have to trust them to keep your baby safe, fed, and changed on schedule while also caring for many other children, all while you are working and running on very little sleep. And breastfeeding adds another layer of difficulty because if you plan on breastfeeding and working, you will need to pump breast milk during your time off, so your baby has milk while you are at work. And even allowing bottle feeding once can sometimes make a baby prefer the bottle since milk flows more easily from it than from breastfeeding. And nurses often explain this in the hospital and may even encourage mothers to wait it out when babies resist breastfeeding at first, because once babies get used to the easier option, they may refuse to nurse. And while breastfeeding is often seen as ideal, it is far more complicated than many mothers expect. Pumping can be difficult, and you cannot control how much milk your body produces, since some women struggle with low supply while others produce so much that they must pump multiple times per day to relieve pain from being overly full. And on top of all of that, your normal household chores do not stop just because you had a baby, so dishes, laundry, cleaning, personal hygiene, and basic self-care still need to happen even when you are exhausted and running on empty. And to recap everything we covered: the sleep deprivation, the pressure to return to work too soon, the emotional stress of daycare, the challenges of breastfeeding, and the nonstop household responsibilities all collide at once. And the truth is there are only 24 hours in a day, and between sleeping, caring for your baby around the clock, keeping up with your home, and finding time for basic self-care, time management becomes a brand new challenge like never before. And hopefully you are not doing all of this alone, because single moms who work without help from family or friends are real-life heroes who deserve serious respect, and having support is almost a must when trying to hold down a job while managing everything else, because it is a balancing act that most people would never voluntarily sign up for. And when you see women pulling this off successfully, it is usually because they have help from parents, partners, or sometimes nannies. And the bottom line is that there is wisdom in having roles and responsibilities shared in a household, because when everything is placed on one person, it becomes overwhelming very quickly, and while teamwork makes it possible, Trying to do all of this alone is an extremely steep mountain to climb, and many people do not fully understand these challenges until they are living it themselves, which is why planning ahead, preventing unwanted pregnancy, and preparing for the realities of motherhood can make such a big difference. And if this video helped you think through these realities or feel seen in your own experience, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next one.